back to the channel. On this episode, we are going to tackle the typical square body rust on the rocker, cab corners, and on the front fender assemblies. In our last video, we got the bed fixed up, primered, ready for paint. So hopefully by the time this episode is over, this is repaired and all of this is in gray primer, ready for paint. The square body bedside rocker's in a couple of pieces. This cab corner is actually separate from the rocker. There's actually a seam there. It's got some seam sealer in it where these are separate parts. And then you've got this part going along here. Now, it would be absolutely amazing if we just had some new rockers to spot weld in here, but we don't have any time for that, and where we're going, it's not going to matter. But I'm still going to perform a repair on here that would really be longer lasting than just putting foam or something in it. So that's the whole plan. With that being said, I have this Dodge Ram bedside panel, and I was kind of eyeballing this right here. And the more I look at this, the more that actually looks like a rocker panel. I mean, it's got the same kind of curve to it and whatnot. So I think hiding right here is a Chevy GMC square body rocker panel. What do you think? I mean, I see it. Do you see it? It's right there. We just have to get it from here to there. See, I fixed it. So this metal nibbler tool is something I normally use on siding and flashing and stuff around the house. I've never thought about using it to cut sheet metal, but I guess there's nothing wrong with that. Just getting it started here may be a little bit of a trick. There we go. It's a lot less noisy and stuff than cutting with a cutoff wheel. It makes a difference to mild steel and high strength steel in terms of how it reacts to certain input, be it heat or welding, beating on it, shaping it. This is not as pliable, not as friendly. It is definitely thinner than the metal that's on the truck right on the Silverado. But yeah, this tool works out pretty nice, and I think it's given me a good place. This is looking more and more like a rocker panel here instead of a bedside, huh? Which is the whole idea. I'll pull him back a little bit. Well, that was kind of nasty, but... And it's got a little bow to it already. We'll take it down here and see what that looks like. Let's see. I mean, yeah, it's covering a hole. So, yeah, I mean, I'm thinking we're gonna plug weld it. I'll plug weld it along here, and then we'll fill that up with some dough, and that's gonna be our new rocker panel. Pretty sweet. Got my panel pretty well grounded around the edges, and I think once I do a little bit more cleanup, we ought to be able to get this thing spot welded in there, you know, make it one. Well, it may seem silly to you since this truck is going to be going over a 300-foot cliff in about 6.5 months. No, 6 months. Time flies. Anyway, I am going to be using some weld-through primer on here, copper rich. It's going to help hold down corrosion, and the last thing we want is to have this thing popping through rust everywhere that we just did the repair. Well, that's got it in place. There's something right there. All right, well, that gets me a starting point. And from here on, it's just going to be some welding. Well, I guarantee this does not look like much to you, but it's a solid rocker now, so to speak. I think I'm gonna call it a night, but welcome back to the chaos. Same clothes, different day. I'm gonna come back here, don't worry. I'm gonna spot weld this a little bit better. Probably not. Make it look a little bit, you know, neater before I put the filler on it. Probably not. But I do have a rust hole right here, and I'd like to have actual metal here. And what I've done is I've taken a piece of tape and kind of traced out what I need and marked it. But this is going to be our template. Let's see what happens. Ta-da! See? Kind of neat, huh? Now, I don't know whether or not I'm going to be able to make it work. All right, something like so. So, see you in a minute. All right, that is looking like, it's looking like the corner of this part of the truck. A little grinding some paint, a little grinding, a little tack welding. We've got a cover. All right, well, the Achilles heel, it seems to be, of these square bodies on the rust, we have all of it on this one. That was on the bed, behind the wheels, right down here on the rockers on the cab, and of course the cab corners. Now you can buy cab corner repair kits that are really nice, obviously as well as the rocker. And in our situation with our time schedule and obviously where this truck is going, it doesn't make a lot of sense, especially since a lot of those parts are out of stock right now. So here's another piece off of our Dodge Ram bedside panel. And after some very careful calculations and shaping, I now have a piece that's going to be able to weld onto this cab corner. Nothing super pretty, you know. I mean, we've definitely got damage going a lot of places, but I've got just enough of this guy. If I can get some weld to bite down here and wrap around, we're going to get some structure out of this. So I've marked off where I need to make sure and grind and prep, and then I'm going to get this fancy handmade cab corner in place. Coming back from the edge a little bit, so I've got some room to put some filler, block it down. It's going to look absolutely amazing. Of the cab as well. It looks pretty ugly, but it's all there. But that is something I can now fill. I've dimpled down my weld areas, and I wasn't going to do this tonight, but I just really want to put a coat on this. I don't want to look at that anymore. All right, coat number 1 of the body filler is in over my new metal and my welds. I'm struggling for the motivation today, guys. Struggling. Been a long day of work and time's ticking. I gotta get this thing painted. And I really don't like grinding rusty metal. I don't like it. It would be so much better just to put a brand new fender on here and call it a day. But this is the path I'm walking. So I'm looking at this fender, I'm looking at the metal I have in that bed, and I'm gonna have to come up with something that gives me, you know, a decent amount of the lip here. I've got a complex multi-ridge in the fender lip and then this little roll here. So I'm thinking I'm going to cut a straight piece, bend a 90 in it, do something so I make it solid. A lot of people have been asking me why not just fill it up with duct tape and foam, and you know, I could, maybe I should, But if I were to just spray foam in here and shape it and then try to fill it, we could probably get away with it between now and July 4th. But I guarantee you, if someone's going to come up and lean against it, even I will, or we're going to try to move the truck, we're going to hit that and break it, and I don't want to break that out on, you know, really nice fresh paint. So that's the reason why we're putting metal in here, not just putting other things. Am I putting the metal in here like you would if you restore it? No. But we're putting metal in here. All right, well, I'm going to measure cut, and I'll check back in with you when I have something that might actually work or come close to working. Don't look at that. Don't look at that. I'm trying not to look at it. Well, 10,000 hours later, got something going in there. Maybe not. Anyway, I'm gonna, I don't know. This is the upper rail of the Dodge Ram bedside panel. The flange is actually the same width as the wheel well lip on this. Kind of cool. So I've got to fill these holes in with some metal. It's too big to put body filler in. And come back and start tack welding that in. And by golly, we're going to have a solid fender lip that we can put some body filler on. I gotta be honest, it is very difficult to get motivated right now. But anyway, with that being said, we're just gonna repeat what I did on the other side right here. The size of this hole is a little bit longer than that one, so gonna just generate more area to try to get something welded in here and embed it in. So here is our bedside lower corner that goes under the edge of the bumper on the Dodge Ram. And I've been cutting and fooling around with it. And I actually think, I know now that we actually have hidden away in our Dodge Ram a Chevy square body cab corner. Anyhow, it's not real pretty yet. I'll definitely tell you, this was repaired before. There's a lot of body filler. You can see where I was grinding into it. This guy, what I like, I've got a little bit of a lip to wrap around the edge of this. And I think if I beat, pound, shape, grind, you know, and do the things we do, I think this piece is gonna fit in here pretty doggone nice. Well, good morning. It's Saturday morning. Saturday! And we got a bedside cab corner. Whoa, we have a cab corner. Well, technically it's a bedside cab corner. Let's just get it right. It's a bedside from a Dodge Ram cab corner on a Chevy square body. How about that? I mean, for something that's gonna jump off a 300-foot high cliff, I mean, I'm digging it. All right, well, you know, got some zip screw action. We're gonna get some grindage in here. Ooh, that wasn't pretty. Gonna get some grindage action. You see this body filler right here? This puppy was already jam full before, but at least we got actual metal down here. How cool is that? And we even preserved the seam. Yeah, because when we restore them to jump off a cliff, we do it right. Pretty sweet, huh? Let's take a look at all of this rawness before it gets covered in filler. The body moldings that they put on these things from the factory, I guess they bolt through here. There was a couple on the bed, and they had Bondoed it up, and it was pushing back out, so we're just gonna Bondo it back up again. I'm getting ready to fill this, and man, we're gonna fill this up. I'm actually pretty happy with this cab corner. I mean, come on. Is that just like, it's amazing. Dodge Ram bedside cab corner. Super cool. All right, well, we're gonna do some body filler, and then I've got to run back down to CarQuest and pick up some other supplies, and man, today is Bondo sand and Bondo sand. Actually, this is 3M body filler, but it's going to be fill and sand and fill and sand and fill and sand until that looks like a proper fender, cab corner, and fender, cab corner rocker. This rocker needed all the extra surgery in it. Sweet! 3M Bondo coat number 1. This one's always the ugliest one, and kind of a mix of two different, ooh, that kind of goes, kind of a mix of two different fillers here, but that's okay. So we're all set for the sanding and grinding. Gonna be a mess. Diesel heater's doing great. I am gonna turn it off while I'm sanding this to reduce the amount of dust getting into the intake, and then we'll get it cranked back up. But I think really before we do that, I'm gonna do a little bit of hand blocking on it and knock down the high spots, and then we'll get the machine going, and it's gonna start looking like a dang good looking truck. Welcome back to the crazy show. Ready for primer. Got the things we don't want sprayed off. I'm gonna kind of manipulate the hood up and down as we go. All this is cleaned. We've got some metal etch prime on a few things that are oopses, and yeah, we are ready to jet it. Just letting that flash off, continue to bring the temperature up out here, and really at this point, we're just going to be making the mess. So seats covered, back heater is ready to engage, fan is ready to exhaust the fumes. Let's cover the seat up a little bit better. Okay, yeah. So I think we're ready to make it gray. Got it kneeling, make it a lot easier for me to get to the hood. So, let's go mix up some primer and get ready to do it. Do a paint job at home. No problem, so do I. Obviously I'm doing it. Big shout out to our friends over at CarQuest. Absolutely amazing. They sell both high quality auto parts and high quality paint products. They've got some great representation over there. I really appreciate their expertise back in the paint counter. It helps a lot for a do-it-yourselfer like me that only paints maybe a couple cars a year. So it's really, really good to have people that you can trust, people that know their products that can help out. And the thing about the products, they're always changing. There's always something else out there. So it's nice to work with people that know what they're doing. So again, thank you to CarQuest. Really absolutely amazing people. They are sponsoring the PPG paint line that's on this Fall Guy jump truck. Primer is all done and it's looking pretty sharp. I'm super, super happy with it. It's had time to dry really well. And I've been coming back with some 400 and just kind of hitting it a little bit. Really, what we're looking to do is to get really some of the sanding scratches out of it, some of the little imperfections. And it's also important, I'm not using this straight like this everywhere. I'm only using it like this on corners so I can get everything nice and rounded and smooth. And then on the open areas, I'm still using a sanding block just to make sure we get a good, easy, smooth finish all the way. But I'm telling you something, that looks like a proper fender now, and you and I both know, shh, don't tell anybody. You and I both know that this thing was an absolute disaster not that long ago, including this fender, which looks like a fender now, including this cab corner, which did not exist, especially that one over there. I will tell you, we had a problem with our paints. The Stone Guard textured surface that I put on the rocker had a chemical reaction with the primer and it bubbled up. It's unfortunate. I'm gonna have to do something about that, and then we'll re-Stone Guard that with something different. But it made some of that look bad in there, but that was all smooth just beforehand. But anyway, it is looking fantastic. Roof, everything primed in, window out. It's looking really good. Look at this. Look across that sheen on that hood. Looks really, really good. Super happy. Super, super happy.